What's the worst that could happen?
Oh boy.
Wow, according to Google, 2016 Arizona Sunshine 1 was released on PSVR. And that's exactly when I got my first taste of Arizona Sunshine on this bad boy. Oh yes, the PSVR 1 was my first real step into VR, and it was amazing. I couldn't believe how it felt. The only thing that really let the PSVR down back then was the fact that you're tethered with wires all over the joint. I mean, loads and loads of them, which obviously meant that you can't stray too much away from your PS4. The other negative would have been the controls, which were kind of difficult to use, and yeah, they found kind of workarounds for it with the controllers, but they still, and I don't mean this really badly because I loved my experience with my PSVR, but they sucked. Flash forward 2023 and Arizona 2 has arrived, and yes, I have a MetaQuest 3, and as well as the nostalgia that went with this game, I really wanted to see how we had advanced since those days on my PSVR. So hit the subscribe button and let's get started, shall we? After diving in and setting up your belt and the like, just like the first game, you're then taken to a menu and asked whether you want to play the Horde mode, which gives a little bit of longevity after you completed the game, or the actual main campaign. I played it in normal, and this is the story mode essentially. Although there is an easier level where you can just enjoy the story, but I find without a little bit of challenge there is no point. And upon jumping into Arizona Sunshine 2, you instantly feel at home if you've played the first game. Instantly. I just felt I'd gone back to a place that I remember in a good way, if indeed that makes any sense considering you're generally surrounded by walkers. As usual, the open moments are kind of like easing you into the game, and it's a little bit of a tutorial as well. And then it's down to business. And this time, you're looking for the first infected. And yes, this means a little bit of sleuth work in between slaughtering loads of walkers. Control wise, it felt so good. I mean, amazingly good compared to playing it on the PSVR 1. And almost felt novel being able to use real controllers to use guns and the like. Walking around was easy, shooting guns just intuitive, and reloading was pretty intuitive as well. The environments were huge, but it had that same linear feel to it, as in, yes, it looked big, but you were kind of like always funneled down a certain route. But then, to be honest with you, if you played the first game, you were kind of expecting this anyway, and it didn't really ruin the game. It kind of added to it because there was always something to do. There was no wandering around for hours trying to look for what you're meant to be doing. The first time you hear your character, it kind of, again, if you've played the first one, again, felt like you had come home to something joyous. That black humour, fun, joking around, especially with the walkers, was just fun. I think the only thing that could really add value to this game would probably having a companion. And yes, they even give you one of them in the form of Buddy. And yes, they even kind of have a slight sly swipe at themselves for such a obvious name that honestly probably didn't take that much for them to think up. Buddy was amazing. Petting him, throwing balls for him, commanding him to go and take out walkers or come next to you or get out of the way. It really did feel, again, intuitive. It just felt right. And I really did think that having Buddy with you did add something to the game. That, and he could also carry some of your weapons for you. Talking about weapons, basically there are quite a few handguns, shotguns, machine guns, all of them you can reload, get bullets for, and all that yummy stuff, you reload it all yourself. And yeah, it could get a bit fiddly, but it felt pretty good, and it does give you that I'm a badass type feel to it when you pull off certain actions all at the same time. As you play the game, you can also collect items so that you can build grenades and mines and things like that. those like alcohol things that you basically set fire to and throw, that I don't seem to be able to pronounce. Molotov cocktail, probably the closest I'm going to get. There's also an array of stabby weapons, and unfortunately I didn't actually use these that much. I literally never felt the need to. And to be completely honest with you, I was having so much fun with the actual gun weapons, I just really didn't want to. Ammo seemed to be on that side of a little bit too much, but I did die twice through running out of ammo, even though he actually does warn you just when you're getting short of it. In fact, he kind of chit-chats all the way through the game, just like the first one. Unfortunately, here and there he does repeat the odd occasional line, especially with the dog or buddy, which kind of throws you out a tiny bit. And whilst I'm on about some negatives, I may as well go into the rest of the negatives, and there aren't that many, but I may as well mention them here. First up, and it didn't really happen too often, I had a few frame rate drops here and there, but it wasn't that often. The other one was the fact that I was doing a few things and I think the game kind of got a little bit confused, and after climbing over certain things it then put me back to the beginning somehow, and then I had to climb back again even though the actions of what had already transpired. It was a little bit weird, but again, as frustrating as these things were, it wasn't a game breaker because I was having so much fun. And to be fair, it looks like the dev have tried to come up with ways of keeping the gameplay fresh throughout the game. Like adding these sections where you have to run from hordes of the walkers in order to survive. And these are actually quite exciting because you're running through corridors or outside or wherever it is that they're asking you to go. And basically on the fly reloading, shooting, taking out walkers, making sure that Buddy's okay. And yeah, it kind of like gets a bit hectic, but in a good way. Graphically, it definitely is a step up from the original, and you would expect that anyway. It does look beautiful. There's differences between going inside a building to coming outside the building. You get that kind of like haziness, and then it subsides, which felt like a pretty cool idea and effect. I will say that obviously you'll encounter the same walkers over and over again, but I don't know, I kind of like expect that. I'm not really expecting them every single one to be different, and I know there's probably loads of people out there going, oh, they should all be different, but you know, I'm guessing that's going to take more than a Meta Quest 3 to perform. Sound wise, incredible. You can hear it all around you. You're talking, which is great, so you've got speech, which is brilliant, funny.
I hope you're appreciating this incredible display of upper body strength. Not everybody can do this. Hey, good work, buddy, you furry little genius.
You've got the walkers, you can hear where they're coming from, you can hear Buddy, he's barking. Sometimes it doesn't look right because he's barking but not actually barking, if you get my meaning. But I'd say the sound does actually help and capture you into this universe, and I don't think in general I had really any complaints about it. There was a weird thing, and I'm not quite sure whether that was my Meta Quest 3 or not, but some objects that you should be able to pick up, I couldn't pick up easily, and I had to really get close to them because it would draw my gun out, and no matter how I tried, it just wouldn't let me grab that item without pulling my weapons out. Likewise, there's this bit where you want to look into a box to see if there's any more ammo, and I know that I almost missed some ammo because of this, because I couldn't get close enough to the box to like lean over. And that was kind of the same with some doors from cars, trying to lean into the actual doorway to pick something up and all. So how would I score Arizona Sunshine 2? Well, the campaign's probably going to set you back about 5-6 hours, I would have thought. I didn't die on normal too many times. And because of other commitments, I found myself playing it in chunks and not the full game, even though I wanted to. But I will say that I was getting up in the morning and playing it then as well, before going out for the day. I have to say I've had the Meta Quest 3 since release time, which is, what, a month or so? And I have to say that this is the best game I've played on there, by far. I'm not planting it next to things like Synth Riders, which is more of an exercise thing for me and kind of like just a little bit of fun that I can put on here and there. But this is the most fun I've had in a kind of actual world where I felt part of. And for this reason, I'm giving Arizona Sunshine 2 a 8 out of 10. And it is so close to a 9 out of 10 you would not believe, but because of those things that I said about before, I just couldn't bump it up one more. And also, I think this is going to be the benchmark, so I can't rate it overly, because when Arizona Sunshine 3 comes out, I'm hoping that game will go up to a 9 out of 10. And with that, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like and subscribe button, really does help the channel. And take care of yourselves out there. I know it's been a long video. I know I've gone on probably overly on this one, but I was really psyched to get a key and just really enjoyed it. It's really good, kind of wholesome fun. Probably not for all the family, but I'm guessing most people will enjoy it. So with that, take care of yourselves out there. Be good, be safe, because life is better when we game together.